tonight's demo is going to be the networking cookie. So there's two parts to this. This is great for if you're just going to networking events, or even if you are, if you happen to have those tables you set up at vendor shows and things like that where you're selling your product. And I think they're even great to, you know, keep a couple in your bag. You know, when you're at the grocery store, people always see me buying, you know, massive amounts of butter and flour and things like that. And they're like, what are you getting all that for? There's always that curious person. So, you know, and they'll ask you for a card. And, you know, of course, if you heat seal a cookie, it's pretty shelf stable. So you can keep it in your bag. And I'm going to show you the packaging and everything. So these right here, I'm going to try to get a little bit closer, are our networking cookies. So this is just a cookie, sugar cookie. It's got a layer of fondant and then our icing images on top. So I am going to go into the detail of how to design this image. Sorry, it's a little bright. See if I can get a better picture. I'm going to go into how we design these on Canva, which is my favorite software to use for designing anything. Totally worth the fee, but they do have a free version as well. And the packaging that goes with it as well. And so I'm going to show you really quick the packaging. So these are called pillow boxes and they're on Amazon. I can share the link and then we can put that into the comments as well. They're pillow boxes, and once you heat seal your cookie, of course, you're not going to put it in here just completely naked, but just for demo purposes, you just slip your cookie. It fits right inside the box. I stick one of my business cards on the back, which I also designed on Canva, and it has an awesome QR code on the back. So you only got to put one in here because if they want to share your information with their friends, they can just scan your QR code and you're, you know, saving the trees, not using a lot of business cards that you think may go to waste, but you got that one good trick on the back, the QR code. You stick that in the back of the pillow box, and now you've got some really chic packaging that you can use when you attend these vendor events. So this is what it looks like in the package. Of course, it will have a, the cookie will be heat sealed, of course, for sanitation and freshness and all that. And then you can drop these in a little tote bag, which is what I usually carry around in your purse. Just keep a couple, all of those things. So this is what our networking cookie is going to look like. So this is part one to our networking cookie. So I'm going to do a quick screen share to show you how I designed this image on Canva, which is incredibly user-friendly. So don't think it'll be intimidating having to learn something all over again. It's super intuitive. So let's get into that. I'm going to do my screen share.
All right, Aleatra. So now those types of boxes I also get at Clear Bags. Amazon could be cheaper, so I'm not sure who's cheaper, but I just got a coupon from them today. So I posted that up there as well. But check Amazon because, again, I'm not sure which one's cheaper. It's just these are easy to use. Yeah.
It's been a while since I've ordered these, so like definitely check all the options. I am notorious for checking all the sources. So if Clear Bags has a better option, please let me know because I would love to buy some more.
What's the size on those?
I can measure them. Actually, you know what? I can pull it up in my Amazon really quick, and I can get you that.
Yeah, if that's a 2x3 cookie, I'm guessing it's probably like a 3x4, maybe. 3x5.
As a matter of fact, let me just, I have a flat box here. I can just measure it really quick. So it is about 4 1/3 by 3 1/2. So about 3 1/2 by 4 1/3. So length versus width. So I know when I looked at Amazon, it's they go down to like the decimal points. It's definitely a 3x4 box with a little bit of extra space on either end. And these cookies are 2x3 cookies, these small ones. Awesome. So I am going to go into a screen share. If you all have any questions, please drop them in the chat, and I am going to share Canva with you all really quick. Here we are. And you all have the screen. Awesome. So here we are on Canva. Canva, like I said, is one of my favorite tools to use. It's incredibly easy to design any type of image. You can choose your size. This is what it's going to look like. And you can literally search for anything in this search bar here. So these are, as you can see, a couple of things that I was looking. I'm sorry, let me turn this oven from beeping on behind me.
I was running around trying to figure out where that beep's coming from. I'm like, where is it?
There we go. Sorry about that. That beeping sound is like, what? I thought it would stop after a couple moments, but apparently it's very persistent. So you can make videos, presentations, Facebook posts, Instagram posts. This will also let you schedule like your social media posting. And then you can see some of the things that I've designed here. Sorry, get that to go away. It's got all of my recent designs here. I've done cake care cards, cookie care cards. This is the design we're working on today. This is what these cookies look like when they were packaged and on the table at one of my networking events. Meeting you today was pretty sweet. Let's connect again soon. I put all of my information on there. Like I said, you can search for anything. So if you wanted to make a poster, it'll give you a bunch of options. If you wanted to make a flyer, let's say a business flyer, the templates are endless, all different types of things. Whatever you click on, it will let you edit every single thing about the flyer. So you can change all the pictures, all the images. You can choose your style over here. So if you want it to be more creative, click on creative, and it'll give you a bunch of creative options. If I were to say, click on this image here, this is just a stock template that they have, which they have thousands of. You can change every single thing about this. You can change the font. Just quick tutorial. You can delete it altogether. And change everything in the background if you like. You can change the color on this image to be, I don't know, teal if you wanted it to be, and give it more dimension with different colors to match your brand images. And that's also another really cool thing about it is that you can save your brand images. So these are the images that I use on my business card, so I don't have to search for those again. So you've got all your templates here, the elements, which is really cool. This is where you search all of your different shapes. I was looking up ribbons the other day to put a happy birthday ribbon on a cake. So you can add those. Once you click on it, it drops right in. You can make it bigger, smaller. There are text options. They give you a bunch of templates.
I love this program. I use it daily for just about anything we do in our office. It's amazing.
Yes, they have different styles you can use with colors. You can create your own logos. These are some of my logos. You can see how they've morphed. It started with this one here. And then I tried one of those, like, you know, put my face on it once, the cartoon eyes when that was a huge trend. And now I stick to the simple one here, where I have one that's super simple with my name and my slogan, and then one with the QR code, and then one that has like all of my accomplishments on it. So those are my top 3 that I currently use. And it's super easy to stay organized. I love it. So with the one that I've created for this particular card, I've got right here. And this is the one that we're going to be working with today. As you can see, there are different font types on here, which are really cool. If you use a projector to use any type of scripts for my cookie people, you can use that and project it, screenshot it, and then project it right off of your phone, which is what I do a lot. It saves me time. And then I can save the fonts that I really like the most, that I use the most common, and then just come in and type the text in here in Canva. And there's an app that works on your phone as well. So you have both of those. I've got my little Food Network sign here, my QR code, which takes you to my link tree, which is another awesome thing to have. And then my logo. So this is one of my logos. And then, of course, like I said, these are my brand images that I've got saved over here. So anytime I want to create a new flyer or anything like that, I can continually use my brand images on the top and make sure everything is consistent, which is really huge with networking and anything to do with your business. You want to make sure that you remain consistent. And so I've got 2 different versions that I use today. This one I used on the small business card. And then this bigger one I'm going to use on the bigger cookie, which I have to show you in just a few minutes. So those are the two options. So once you've decided what you've got, what you want to use, then you're going to go here, click share, and it gives you a bunch of download options. So you can download it. You can save it as a PNG file, JPEG, PDF, SVG. So if you're using the Cricut and things like that, this is the file type you use, right? Isn't that right, Debbie?
Sorry, hi. Sorry that I mute myself sometimes and then I forget and I start talking. So what was interesting is like I found that PNGs they generally are the higher resolutions, but I found that when you email them, sometimes that with the email reduces the size of the file, thus reducing the quality. And so where JPEGs normally are a lower resolution, when
I'm sorry, did I lose you guys? I think I got a pause in the feed. My Wi-Fi maybe.
I think we lost Deb.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what happened. Was that me?
No, you're still live. She'll come back on.
Okay, no worries. Awesome. So I think she was talking about how when you email a PNG file, sometimes in translation and transit, the file gets degraded. So JPEG is actually one of the best, as it says on here, best for sharing. So using JPEG files, the SVG files are really good if you're creating t-shirts, things like that, MP4 videos. I am actually still in recovery from this weekend. I created a bunch of images and things like that, but my Academy students also host the senior prom. So we hosted the senior prom this weekend. And like I said, super tired, but it was so worth it. But I did a lot of the promo images. We can go back to Canva. And there were some beautiful videos. The theme this year that they chose was Met Gala. So there were a lot of videos that came with this presentation. So you can see the stars twinkling. So if you were to download this, you would download it as an MP4 file, which is a video file. And then you can actually play it and it goes into presentation mode and it's a beautiful presentation. So this works great if you wanted to upload this to say your Instagram stories or something like that, or creating a reel or even a presentation. If you are trying to gain new clients and you have that type of presentation going on, making something really professional and clean and crisp like this would be awesome. I'm going to add it there. All right, so back to this file. So like I said, these are the two files that we are using. I want to make sure that we are making the most out of our time. So I downloaded these two files and we printed them off on some awesome images for some awesome images here. I'm going to stop sharing and show you those. So we've got these two files. So I've got the smaller one for the cookies. This is the 2x3 that go on the smaller cookies. These are the ones that you're going to give out, of course, as you're mingling through the crowd, things like that. And then I printed off a super big one where we're going to make a jumbo cookie. So this one, we're going to turn into a puzzle cookie, which is going to be pretty awesome. So with the puzzle cookie, you can share the pieces of your puzzle cookie at the end of your event. Let's say you had a vendor table. This will be sitting on your vendor table. It's a tangible thing. It's awesome that people can see your actual product and how you're creative with it. But it also has this QR code, so it's functional. At the end of your event, you can break off the pieces of your cookie and share it with the other vendors. So not only are you having people that are attending the event, you can share with the people who are there. The vendors are also most likely in most events that I've been at, they are like your best friends. Everybody at the end of the event is sharing their product, whether it be all bakers or people, especially in other industries. They see how creative your stuff is, and of course, they want to try it. That's the first thing they want to do. So you can give them that free sample, which is actually something that's fully functional for you at the same time. So I'm going to demo this one as well. So I am going to jump right into the demos and how I did these cookies and how to do them with the least, I guess you could say the least effort with the highest results, the most quality results, I should say. So I am going to flip my camera. If you all can bear with me a little bit, I'm on my laptop, so I've got to kind of like flip it upside down, and we're going to get a shot of the table as I'm working on the demo and making the puzzle cookie and the smaller cookies. Let's see, remember how I did this. All right, here we go. Should probably set just a little bit higher so we can get a better angle. All right. So to make sure you guys can hear me okay.
We can hear you, Aleatra. Can you hear Deb?
I cannot hear Deb.
Okay, she can't hear Deb. Okay. Well, we can hear you, so if you want to keep on going.
Okay, awesome. All right, so here we are. I'm going to put the light back up. All right, so these are the smaller cookies we're going to look at first. Actually, let's do the bigger cookie so that we can get it in the oven and get it out. All right, so this is the bigger cookie. I have a quarter size sheet pan, which is what I use for my little home ovens. I don't have one of those big commercial ovens. I have countertop ovens that I've ordered from, actually I picked them up from like Walmart. They work amazing. I've been using these for the past 10 years and they're awesome, even with my high volume that I do here. So this is about an 8 by 10 and it's a quarter size sheet pan, like I said. And the way that I do this is that I roll it out right onto the parchment paper. And then I can just, pick it up and put it right in the pan without worrying about, distorting it, picking up the cookie dough. So we're going to turn this into a puzzle cookie so that when it's time to break it apart and share it with our vendors at the vendor events or whatever event you've got your cookie set up as at the table at the end, you'll be able to break it into pieces and share it with people. And they can try it right away, which is pretty awesome. So in order to turn this into a puzzle cookie, I've got these 3 cookie cutters here, just a square, a heart, and a circle. And I'm going to, right here at the top edge, punch in my first cookie cutter right there. And then I'm going to put my heart right in the middle. And I want it to touch the edge here so that there's no space left in between. So finding bigger cookie cutters to kind of fit this space works best. So we got that one. And then our last one is going to be our circle. Again, you want to touch the bottom. Punch it here. And then I am going to take a small knife. You can use one of your craft knives. And then you are just going to go from the edges to kind of cut towards the end so that you come out with a total of 9 cookies. So you've got 9 people that you can share these cookies with. 1, 2, 3, the heart cookie, the circle, the heart, the square, and then that's 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is going to go right into the oven. You don't want to separate it because you want it to bake together so that it actually will stay together as a puzzle piece. So I'm going to throw this in the oven for the next 7 minutes while we look at the smaller cookies. All right, and we are back. So now for our smaller cookies, I've got all of my little pieces pre-cut already. I was telling Debbie I have the Cricut, but I have not taken the time out to properly use it and figure out how it works. So I used a paper slicer to cut these out to make sure that they were all straight and even. Of course, a regular pair of scissors works great as well. And these are all my cookies. They're all done. Came out amazing. They're super soft, which I love. And I'm going to attach these images to the cookies. So instead of using our very expensive royal icing, I am going to be using fondant to attach the images to the fondant and then the images and the fondant to the cookies. So I've got 6 cookies here left, and I'm just going to do a couple of these going to set this to the side over here. Got my images, and then I've got a couple already kind of punched out, and I used a small 2x3 cookie cutter here, rectangular cookie cutter that is approximately the same size as my business card. So business card fits here, and that's also another awesome image that you can put on your cookies is your actual business card. And then of course you tuck another one right behind. It's the repetition. You get your name in front of that person more than once. And that's how they're going to remember you above remembering any other business or any other card, aside from the fact that you gave them an amazing cookie that's going to be delicious. They will remember the creativity and the effort you put into making these networking cookies. And I promise you, they never disappoint. There will never be a person who is dissatisfied with a free cookie. Even as adults, I think that's one of the funniest things. Like I said, I was hosting the prom this weekend, and I catered it using my chef background. And my students and I am managing, 30 volunteer students as well on the buffet line from when we catered. And I believe that the staff probably ate more than the kids did.
Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yay. Okay, we've been trying. So I have a question for you.
Awesome.
Before you print out the image with the QR code, do you print it like on regular paper at the same size and check the QR code first before you print an image?
So I have not done that. I honestly just kind of did it and hope for the best, and it actually works very well. I've printed QR codes on the edible image sheets. I've done it on fabric, things like that. So I've always just kind of trusted that it will work. And so far I haven't been disappointed, but I probably should have done it beforehand so that you don't waste any paper. But it works out amazing. It works out amazing.
Yeah, I've done them on print before, and I've made them too small before on like normal non-edible things, and I've made them too small where they didn't work. So I just would be mindful of that because it's such a wonderful idea. You definitely want it to work.
Oh, of course, absolutely, definitely. So these QR codes on these little sheets, I believe may be a bit too small, but they are just kind of a copy image of the bigger one. And so for the actual cookie itself, I wasn't super concerned with the QR code working because I have my business card tucked in it. This one's going in someone's, stomach. They're going to eat this one. So I wasn't too terribly worried about that one working. But when I tuck my card in, I usually put the QR code side out. So they pull that out and then they see my business and my name and everything on the other side. So like I said, if they want to share it, with their friend, some people are really conservative when they're grabbing cookies, like, oh, I'll only take one. And then they can share the QR code with their business partners as well.
Yeah. And I love how you made it nice and big, and that's going to be right in your face. Cause once they eat the cookie, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like that QR code is no longer, valuable to you because it is absolutely gone. There's nothing you can do with that one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with the fondant, when you're cutting out your fondant squares, I usually, of course, use the same cookie cutter that I used to do my cookies. Of course, clean it off first. That way I can make sure everything is uniform in size. Of course, you can use whichever fondant that you particularly like. I know that everybody has their favorite. I know it can be a hot topic. I talked to some of my cake friends, and 9 times out of 10, we're usually disagreeing on what type of fondant we prefer to use for various different reasons. It could be based on the climate where we work, or just what we're used to. Some people think they taste better, depending on the different brands. But whatever fondant you like, that's what I prefer to use. You can also use, if you prefer to just dip your cookies right into melted, like candy melt or melted chocolate, that would make a delicious cookie as well. But like I said, this is the biggest time saver for me, just because although I love royal icing and how, the sheen and everything, how great it looks, it's a lot more time to dry and to set up. I know that meringue powder and, you know, buying the good stuff can be very expensive because of cost. Of course, the cost of eggs have gone up. So this may be the most cost effective, and it is definitely a time saver.
Yeah. The key with fondant is to roll it really thin.
Right.
People who say they don't like it, they generally have tasted it when it's been too thick on an item, and that's when it's really gross and chewy. But when it's thin, it's delicious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then when you put the image on top of it, the great thing about the fondant is that it doesn't dry super hard. It doesn't get that, you know, that crunch to it. So a super soft layer, thin layer of fondant in between that and the cookie, I think it definitely adds a little something to it. So I'm going to attach these images with some piping gel. That's another trick I learned from one of my baker friends. I used to use corn syrup all the time, and it was really messy and used to slide around on me. But the piping gel, I have learned, is amazing. And it's like my favorite thing to use now because it, you know, it's just sweet. It doesn't have a bad aftertaste. But it also does the job of sticking your image right where you want it to go, and it doesn't move around too much on you.
And the key to that as well is to keep it really, really thin. If you put too much on it, it's going to get goopy and it's gross.
Oh, yeah. And then it starts sticking to your fingers, and then it's a mess from there. So I'm going to attach these, and then we're going to put them right on the cookie. So let's do my batch method, you know, do a couple at a time.
And just remember to remove that backing like she did.
Oh, yeah. Please don't put the backing on the cookies.
I speak from experience.
The backing on the cookies. And these little craft paint brushes, I love. Oh, our cookie is ready. So I'm going to grab the big cookie and put it over the fan.
That was so funny when it was going off before. I kept looking around the room like, where is that coming from? And I couldn't figure it out. I'm looking underneath things.
Done.
Mmm.
Really good in here. I have to, so being a chef for many years, I have learned, I've used so many different tools and things like that. And when I started making cookies, which was only like 2 years ago, actually it was pre-pandemic. I just started making cookies at the beginning of the pandemic. I was always like wondering where can I like put a rack or something to dry them on? And that was like my biggest struggle, like trying to find space. And then I remembered, like, I've worked in enough kitchens, and I used to, we have these pizza racks where when I was working at a school at the time, I was doing food service for a private school, and we would make so many pizzas. You can imagine, it was an all boys high school, how much pizza boys could eat. And we would go through about 30 pizzas a day. And this rack holds 15 pans, and it's perfect. I've got it sitting on the counter. I'll show you guys in just a few moments. And I've got my fan sitting on the top of the shelf. So it's like a drying off or cooling down the cookies. But this little rack has probably been like the biggest lifesaver. It holds like full-size sheet pans, little quarter-size ones that I use. It is valuable, and it sits right on the countertop. My husband built me a little speed rack, which is awesome. But this one on the countertop, I can just kind of reach over and grab it whenever I need it, and I love it. And
we're all dying to see it now. And
I know, right?
That space-saving thing that, you know.
Yes. And I mean, I stack all the things on it. Like if I'm sitting here working on my laptop, I'll just, you know, reach over and I need to move the laptop out of the way. I can just sit it over there on the rack. And I'm just like, man, what have I been doing on my life without this thing?
It's a laptop rack too.
I know, right? It holds all the things, all of the things. All right. So I'm going to attach these now, put a little bit more, what is it? Piping gel. I forgot what I was using. And I'm going to stick it to the back of the cookie.
Now, which fondant are you using? Bina wants to know.
I'm actually just using Wilton. I teeter between Wilton and Satin Ice. Those are my two. I personally like Wilton for covering and things like that. The Satin Ice does, in my opinion, when I'm doing sculpted cakes and things like that, it doesn't dry up as quickly. So I can kind of mesh things together a little bit more. But sometimes I think my hands get a little too hot for satin ice, so it gets a little sticky.
That's so interesting. I love listening to what people think about their different fondants.
Yeah.
Because everybody has the same and opposite. It's just based on where you're living. And you live right now where you're at. It's a little bit humid because you're not too far from me.
I have to say, oh my gosh, do you see humidity? It goes from like a beautiful spring to, you know, super 100% humidity in like a week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny like that. We were playing with we were in Atlanta and it was crazy humid there. Like everything was wet to the touch. And we used Satin Ice's Tropical. And again, there were people there that loved it. And then Lori, who's in the background, she lives in Denver. She gets humid too, but I almost think it's humidity may vary just where you are too, the way it is, because she hates it. You know, so but we were loving it. We were loving it in Atlanta's humidity. So it's just kind of that. It depends where you are and how you work, and you know, it's definitely a personal preference thing.
Yeah, my bake shop is in the basement of my house. So my dad is he helps he and my husband help build out my little bake shop down here, and it gets so cold down here. But in the winter time, the heat is on, so it's kind of it can get a little sticky down here because it's so hot. So we've got our 5 cookies ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and heat seal these and stuff them inside the pillow boxes, and we've got that one set done. Grab some bags. But yeah, so they have when they built everything out, and so in the wintertime, it's freezing down here until the heat kicks on. And then in the summertime, it's so cold down here because the AC is on upstairs and I have to turn the heat on. So it's like, no matter what the season is, I've got the little heater on down here, and it can get a little humid in between. And then one of my baker's tables also next to the window. So in the summertime, I feel like just like that humidity and the radiating, you love the light, the natural light is great for pictures and everything, but when I'm trying to dry off cookies, it can be a pain.
So because you didn't use Royal, you're able to bag these things right away.
Right away. Yep, right away. No delay. Like I said, you can just pack them up, ready to go. This is super easy. There's no delay. And I mean, I love Royal Icing. My little ovens the countertop ovens that I use, I can show you guys those too. They have a dehydrate feature on them, which is awesome. But, it still saves time because even when you dehydrate them, you still have to cool them down and make sure they're completely dry before you can put them in the bag. With this way, the only thing I wish I'd done when I bought my heat sealer was to get the one that cuts the excess off of the bag. I don't have that. That's going to be like one of my next upgrades. So I just cut the excess off of the end of the bag here. I try to get it as close to the edge of the cookie as possible so I don't have to fold it too much when I put it into the pillow boxes. So I'm going to grab a pillow box that I've got here. I usually have to, when you open these up, you've got to uncrease the edges a little bit so that it'll stay open long enough for you to get something inside of it. Close the end. You're going to stuff your cookie inside. Like I said, when you don't cut off enough of the excess, you got to fold it just a little bit. It slides right inside. Your business card goes right in the back. I put the QR code on the outside, and then you close it up.
That's so awesome. So easily done.
Super easy. So if you were to make these cookies, I've got it down to a science. Mixing the dough, cutting them out, baking them, and cooling. Let's give or take 20 to 30 minutes before they're completely cool. And then, you roll out your fondant, you punch it out. You've got your images already cut out, and you are good to go. I'm sorry to go. You are good to go.
Thank you. I was just going to add. Yeah, and if you wanted to put some of those little fluff stuff in there, the shredded stuff, it would look cute in there too. Or you don't even need to.
I've done these. I've done these where I've tied ribbon around the outside as well to give it an even more elevated look. And they're super easy. It's really sanitary. People aren't worried about you actually touching the cookies or anything directly because it's heat sealed. Once they're heat sealed, they're good for 7 to, I tell them 7 to 10 days. If they want to keep them and share with their coworkers, they can stick them in the freezer for, however long they need it. But it's a super quick process. And like I said, you can throw a couple in your bag or in your purse. They're good to go. And there's nothing better when you're networking than to be able to give someone a tangible piece of what you make. It's impossible for them to forget you. And if you are, you're super proud of your product, or you wouldn't be selling it, obviously. So that shows that you really care about something when you keep it on you. And you can share it with someone. They really value that. And of course, it's going to be delicious. So they're not going to forget. They're going to want to remember where they got that cookie from. And they're going to want to try all your other products. I only do 3 flavors of cookies. I do a vanilla, a chocolate, and a caramel macchiato cookie, which is my favorite one.
That sounds wonderful.
Coffee, but I like coffee flavored desserts, which is, I guess, weird.
You can control the coffee flavor then.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to sit these to the side. We don't need to box all of these up, but this is like one of my favorite things. All right. And you've got all your branding on it, everything. And then when they look at your card, it actually matches. All the branding images and everything actually match. So, you look very well put together. You're handing out something that is a great reflection of who you are as a professional and well-organized business. So they're going to trust you with those big orders. I know a lot of businesses really love this packaging because it's easy for them to travel. The cookies don't get broken. They can just kind of, toss them in all together. And it really makes them look great as well when they have a really a nice image that they want to protect. So this is great for your high-end clients. But these little pillow boxes don't really cost very much. So it's good for anyone. It's awesome. That's
just so cute. I love it. And, when as I said before, if you're joining us late, when people tell me, oh, I only print a couple times a month. Well, you really need to increase that. Otherwise, you're going to have printer problems. This is a great way to do it. It becomes your marketing. And what a great way to utilize the product you already have with your talents.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So moving on to our puzzle cookie really quickly. Is that I want to make sure that we are honoring our time. So now that our cookie is, it's cooled enough. It's not completely cold, it's slightly warm. But we've got our outlines already done. Like I said, you want to make sure that your cookie stayed together while it was baking. You're going to take your craft knife and you are going to go right along those seams where you cut initially, and you're just going to cut it again. You're still not going to separate the cookies. We're going to leave them together because we're going to lay a huge piece of fondant right on top. And then we're going to put our image on top. So we're going to cut those out again.
Such a great way to make a puzzle.
I actually learned this by watching the Christmas Cookie Challenge on Food Network. So I was like, oh, you learn all types of little tricks. So we're going to cut this back out again.
Now, I think, if I remember right, on Canva, there is a function that you can make a puzzle out of an image, too.
Oh, I have not used it yet.
I think I remember seeing it. And then that could be interesting, too, because it could follow your image if you wanted it to.
Right. That would be incredible. So this one, and it gives them a decent size cookie as well. So you're not just giving them one of those little tiny bite-sized samples. Like, sometimes I feel like the one bite is not enough. So we've got this done. So now I'm going to roll out a big enough piece of fondant to put over the top. I'm going to set this to the side. And I was so excited when Wilton Fondant, they came out with the big, I think it's like a 10-pound bucket of fondant, so I didn't have to buy the small packs anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm using so much of it. All right. I'm going to put some gloves on this time. My hands are getting a little sticky. Does anybody that's watching have any awesome networking techniques that they specifically use when they're doing events?
Yeah, definitely share that, guys.
That's one of the things I love about these online social events. Like, of course, I'm sure everybody during the pandemic got kind of sick of Zoom and all that stuff a little bit. But the best part is that you don't have to remember everything that was said, because you can go back and rewatch it. And then the comments are like a gold mine of information.
Oh, definitely. Rose wants to know that instead of a knife, could you use a cookie cutter? Okay, so could you go back and just use that same cookie cutter?
Absolutely.
Doesn't it expand a little so it won't fit?
It depends on, so I feel like that's another like cookie or controversy, like the cookie batters that people use, like the no spread cookie dough, like it's like the coveted recipe that, once people figure out like how they manage to get a no spread, mine spreads a little, which I don't mind, kind of like really soft cookies, so I don't mind if they spread a little. But there is a huge like debate and controversy about making like no spread cookie batter. So if you have a really great no spread, then yes, you can absolutely go right back over it with your cookie cutter. But with a puzzle cookie, if it does spread a little, then you're going to have that like double line, and then you may not be able to match your cookie pieces together, your puzzle pieces together. So sometimes the knife is better for that particular reason, just for this specific instance with the puzzle cookies. But if your cookies do spread a little, I have been known that if I want my cookies to be precise, that I can, if they spread a little, I'll go back over with the cookie cutter and punch it so that it is the exact specific shape. Right when it comes out of the oven and it's super hot, then you punch it again with the cookie cutter.
Oh, you're making me want your cookies.
I'm going to send you a sampler pack for your recovery. Ooh. It's a great excuse to eat cookies.
I know. I just realized because ice cream makes my throat feel really good, but it's like so fattening. But I'm like, but I can have it because it's an excuse.
All right. So I am going to drop this fondant over top of my cookie just so I can cut it to size. And then I'm going to take it right back off. I just want to make sure it's the proper size. And the great thing about putting this on the parchment paper is that you can slide it right off and then slide it. Oh, I don't want my cookies to come off. Not yet. There we go. It's a little stuck to the bottom. Let me lift it up. The corners. There we go. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. I forgot that I cut it on the bottom, so we're just going to lift it right back on the top. That was plan A. All right, so lift it on the top just so I can cut it down to size. There we go. There we go. I'm going to cut the edges right off. One of the things that I noticed that once I got this little craft knife is that I went onto Amazon because I live on Amazon. That's just, what I do.
You're my neighbor.
Right. I bought the 100 pack of the craft knife blades so that, if you're using your craft knife on fondant, especially, they get really goopy pretty fast and it dulls the blade. So being able to switch it out as often as I need. I think I bought 100 or 200 or possibly even a 300 pack of these little craft knives.
We got to turn you on to the pen blades.
Oh, I have one of those as well.
Those work really well.
I love my pen blade. I got it as in a swag bag gift and fell in love with it. I'm like, hey, this is a thing? I didn't even know. So now that it's cut to size, I'm just going to roll it back a little bit and start putting on my piping gel. We're going to get to the puzzle part in just a few moments. So again, you don't really need a lot of the piping gel, just enough to stick it to the cookie. You're going to roll this at least halfway so you can do the other half right
We
after.
got Mate just joined us, and Heather. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, welcome. Drop that right back over. I'm going to do the other side. This is the easiest way to do it so that you're not picking up and stretching your fondant, trying to get it on and off the cookie since it's such a large size. All right. There we go. I'm going to roll it right back over. Fit it to size. So we're going to sit this forward just a little bit. And now we're going to grab our big image that we got right here, and that's going to go right on top of your cookie. So if you wanted to make this, because our cookie is a little bit bigger than our image, you can always go and get some air mist, or you can airbrush and put a little shimmer in the background just to make it pretty around the edges so that it doesn't look like a plain white. I am going to, you know, I can grab a little pink air mist really quick. Awesome. So I'm going to do the edges really quick in pink because that matches my colors. And this is just my lazy way of doing it because I don't want to get my airbrush out at the moment.
And that's why they make those cans.
Exactly.
Just make sure it's at a little bit of a distance when you do it. I know she's off camera. That way it's not smearing the image. But
right.
That's the same with airbrushing too. Oh, you don't even have the image on yet. What am I saying? Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's actually, so the air mist doesn't actually get all over everything, especially in your workspace. I usually just drag it off to the side.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing any type of roll fondant or anything. You don't really see it, but then you roll out your fondant and you got pink all over everything.
I think you've been there and done that, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. So remember again to take the backing off of your image. And
I
I'm
love
going to
that
use
premium icing sheets sound. Save your backings, guys. They're used for many different things.
Oh, what
you
do
could
you
even
use
airbrush on them. Well, you can airbrush on it so it doesn't get all over everything.
Oh,
you can pipe on it if you wanted to pipe on it. You could use it for stencils, throwaway stencils. You could use it for Isomalt, our premium brand. The backing will stand up to that heat, or chocolates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's acetate. It's awesome.
I love that. We were just talking about how I'm falling in love with Isomalt now.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I just love what people are coming up with as, you know, I've been around before the, before semi-Isomalt, before they had the tiles that were pre-made and you had to boil it, and it was really a pain. So nobody really did it back then. And now it's just through the years has developed so much traction, and the most beautiful things are being made out of it. If you're not a member of the Simi Torch team already, I suggest you join that on Facebook and just see all the things they're doing. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. Just watching all of the creations. So here we go. I am putting my image on now. There you go. Shift it a little. So we've got our image on now. So the way that this will work is if you're doing a vendor event, you're going to leave the cookie completely whole like this until it is time to share with your vendor mate. So when it's time to share, you're going to flip your cookie over. So we're going to go and do a flip.
Oh, this is interesting. Oh, cool.
And then you're going to trace the bottom again, and then that's going to cut out the cookies again, and it's going to cut your image as well. So cool. I am going to grab my cutting mat, and that makes it turns it into sharing pieces that you'll need so that I am not cutting this beautiful Icing Images Silpat mat. So I've got my cutting mat now, and now I'm going to cut the bottom. I'm going to cut out the same cookie shapes again, but you got to make sure that you drag your knife through the icing image. That's why it's always good, like I said, to have a sharp one. Here we go. And these cookies are super soft. I swear I'm going to eat these. Don't tell anybody. So we're just dragging them through. If you put enough pressure on it, you only need to go once. I always go twice because, you know, it's OCD kicking in. My cookies are so soft on the bottom. They're crumbling just a little bit, but, you know, there's never anything wrong with a soft cookie. All right, let's cut this circle at the edges. I know that in a few of the cookie groups I'm in, it's really popular to have those really beautiful decorative, like colored, different colored pans so that you can keep your cookie on a tray and then just put it on an easel when it's on display. And the great part is that as long as it's on the pan and on the easel and it's got the image and the fondant on it, your cookie will not dry out during your event. So you'll still have these delicious soft cookies. All right.
I lost you guys for a minute. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, my internet just dropped. So
I'm surprised that mine has been behaving so well because I am in the basement. I was expecting lots of disconnects, but so far so good.
Only me.
All right, so I flipped it back over again. Looks like I missed one side of my square, but we can see here that now you can pull apart your cookie and share it with your vendors. So now your puzzle,
look at there.
You can put it back together or you can pull it apart when it's time to share with your vendors. And now you can give them parts of your cookie. They have your product and then you can hand them a business card. So this is your puzzle cookie. And it's a pretty big piece so they can share with whoever's at their table. I know a lot of vendors bring their kids with them sometimes. And you can there's never a kid that's going to turn down a cookie.
I won't.
So like I said, all these pieces come apart and you can share them with your vendors and you can see how squishy soft these cookies are.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
That's amazing. That is your share cookie puzzle cookie. So even when you take it apart and put it back together, you can pretty much still see everything on it. This QR code does work so that you can scan it and people can walk up and scan it at your vendor event. I also have this same image printed on a huge poster, a foam board poster that I keep next to my table. But this is really great, like I said, to share with other vendors because they're in the business just like you are. They own small businesses and they understand the power of word of mouth and building a community, especially if you attend the same vendor events frequently. Building that sense of community and sharing with them without always having to charge someone for something is your return on investment will be great and people appreciate you. You'll develop a network and whenever someone needs something, they're going to come find you. So this is your puzzle share cookie for networking. Awesome. Oh, and as promised,